Hi. Happy
Hello,
Monday.
everyone.
It is
Hello.
very Monday. I don't know about you, but I got deadlines and stuff.
No, I don't. My deadlines were at the end of the month, and I made them, and now I'm finding no motivation to start a new deadline. So,
Yeah, well, the
yeah.
government is motivating us by we meet the deadline or we are not eligible to win the work. So,
Oh, yeah. So your
yeah.
deadlines are really, really bad. Yeah.
hmm Highly external deadlines,
Ugh, that sucks.
job dependent deadlines, I guess.
Ugh. Well, we won't make this one super long then.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, we can be, I guess, persuaded with compelling questions because normally what happens is we're like, I think maybe we'll call it. And then there's like 7 more questions that come in. So get those in early, people.
Get those in early, your compelling questions or
Yeah.
non-compelling questions. I mean,
Mundane. Yeah, that
Yeah.
works.
Yeah. Yeah. So work for me is not bad, at least. So, because the quarter has passed and I had this thing that I was supposed to do. It was a major project. And then they're like, no, we're going to push it off a full year. I'm like, okay, don't care.
It's pretty good.
I'm not starting it. Because if you're pushing it off a year now, that means you're going to push it off 2 years. I don't care.
Yeah, we had
Find
one like
something
that.
else to do. So, anyways, Annette says she has like 20 duckweed questions. How could you have 20 things to say about duckweed?
I mean, if you wait long enough, those 20 questions divide into 40 questions, and those divide into 80 questions.
It's a good example of geometric.
And those questions are all why.
Why? I mean, if you want to increase your duckweed production, I guess more light and more fertilizers and no movement. So, like a kiddie pool that you put some Miracle Grow in with no fish and maybe some mosquito dunks because you don't want to breed mosquitoes.
Mm-hmm.
That's how you get maximal duckweed production.
So Emily is trying to organize a fish room while she's listening.
Right.
Not having a deadline on when it's supposed to be completed is a big ADHD struggle.
We could give you a deadline.
Yeah.
We
before the stream ends, we need to see at least 50% organization.
That's we want a status report.
Yeah.
We want a status report on your fish room. We want
pictures. The other thing that's a struggle with ADHD is either not having a deadline or having a deadline that is too far away, because then it's not real. Like if in college, if I had a term paper that was due in a month, that was basically, I don't have a term paper.
Yeah.
If it was due in a week, I had plenty of time, but I was aware of it. Still, you do it a couple of days before it's due.
All my deadlines are like 2-month deadlines, but they take a long time to do because they're hundreds of pages long. So you can't put them off till the night before. Like you can't. So it's probably not a good job if you have ADHD. It's also not a good job if you enjoy exciting work.
Which if you have ADHD, you need something exciting. Although my job is also not exciting.
I mean, you just need to find your excitement in other things.
The external motivation is money. The end.
Right.
That's all.
It's true. We are both very motivated by cash. If you water your lawn enough, can duckweed live out of a tank? I don't understand how your lawn and your tank are connected.
As in, if you just put duckweed in the yard, will it survive in the yard if the yard stays wet enough?
I mean,
it has to be saturated.
It's got to be like spongy and squishy.
Yeah.
Don't
ruin your lawn to make a duckweed carpet.
I mean, it would be very pretty. It's a very delicate plant. I don't think it could take any foot traffic. If you want something that looks duckweed-like, but can live in dry conditions, Creeping thyme would be a good choice.
Yeah.
Smells good. It can take a little foot traffic. It's hardy in your grow zone. It has.
What about aquatic mint?
flowers.
Could that take over your yard?
Aquatic mint. I mean, maybe your yard because you live in the swamp. Maybe it could grow on land because you live in the swamp. I mean, it's not tiny enough leaves to be
True. Yeah.
attractive.
We have a
but
lot of clover
mint-
that just grows anyway.
Yeah, yeah. But yeah, so if you want something duckweed like, I would try creeping thyme. So
Does duckweed taste better with salt or pepper? I mean, everything tastes better with a bit of salt except for fruit.
Yeah. Well, there are those weirdos who put salt on their melons. My mother is one of those.
Yeah, my
She
parents.
comes from melon salting people, and I don't get it. I don't
get it either.
I think it's gross.
Like, you realize all the work that goes in to make that melon sweet.
I know. I want my melon just plain and cold. I want it cold, cold, cold. For a while, it was a trend to have a salad made of feta and watermelon with like a little red onion. No. I just want watermelon. I just want regular melon. No.
Jenna showed me some bizarre, can't even be real TikTok of, I don't remember, it's something salad, but it was like salad from half a century ago where everything was just gelatin.
A lot of Jello. Yeah, like Waldorf salad. That was a big.
And just the ingredients are just disgusting. You start with fruit, and then I think it was like adding vinegar and maybe pickles, just a bunch of briny shit. I don't know. I mean, maybe there's some kind of chemistry involved with it, but it just
no
sounds vile to me.
I don't want to eat that. I just want to eat fruit. Like, fruit tastes good the way it is.
Yeah.
I guess I make a fruit salad with like a little tiny bit of mint and a little bit of lime juice. That's pretty good.
A fruit salad to me is just, let me find the fruit we have and I'll chop it up and put it on a plate together.
I mean, that's just with a few select fruits. Like for melon, I just want to eat a cut up watermelon. I want it to be cold and cut up, and that's it. So,
is there a more efficient edible pest we can grow with our waste nitrate water than duckweed? Chlorella.
Wolfia.
Yeah. You want that nightmare?
Yeah. So it's like a water meal or something. It will. When I was in an undergrad, I took ecology because it was required, not because I wanted to, because it was at 8 a.m. So I didn't really want to. But for the lab, we had to do an experiment where we set up a little competition scenario with duckweed and Wolfia. And the Wolfia always won. Whether it was fertilized or not, the Wolfia always won.
Was it by mass? Which one was faster? Or
it was by mass. Yeah, it was by dry weight mass. And the Wolfia, sometimes it would totally outcompete the culture. So there would be no duckweed left. So there you go.
Crazy.
You could be growing Wolfia. I don't recommend it, but you could do it.
I don't know how I managed.
It's very tiny.
I don't know how I managed to not get Wolfia infecting the other tanks, but I had it in that 7 gallon. And I had it for a while, didn't know what it was. And when I realized what it was, I actively got rid of it. But it was only confined to that 7 gallon, and it's been a couple of years probably now.
Yeah. Yeah, I've never had it in a tank. The only time I've ever grown it was in that ecology class. So, but apparently it's nutritious. So is duckweed. Both very high in protein for a vegetable. So you could make smoothies out of it. Just wash it.
What about a bagel? A duckweed bagel?
I mean, sure. Maybe with some cream cheese. I mean, no. I don't know. I'd be willing to try it. It probably doesn't taste any different than like lettuce or any other green. It's probably not that exciting. I think it would smush out the side of your bagels though. But I would put it in a smoothie, I guess. But you need to wash it really, really well.
I know that is a lot of work to get any tank grown plant edible, at least to a level that I would want to eat it.
No, I mean, I think you just put it in a strainer and run it under the water is what I would do, and wash it really well. But
if
fruits and vegetables that are not cooked are always a little bit more risk to eat from a food safety standpoint. So for instance, they call them sprout breaks. That's what the CDC calls them, because so many foodborne illnesses come from sprouts. Because
I've had to
of the way
recall
they're
so much
grown.
spinach and lettuce over the years.
Yeah. And sprouts are even worse because people won't cook their sprouts usually. I mean, you can, but
The alfalfa sprouts.
Yeah, like alfalfa sprouts.
My mom used to make sandwiches with that stuff, like instead of lettuce.
They're very nutritious.
Yeah.
But they're a little stringy. I mean, I think other sprouts taste better. I've had basil sprouts before. Those are pretty good. They're basil-y, as the name would imply. So I've had sunflower sprouts. Those are pretty good.
Oh, yeah.
If
I had a deadline, Cora wants to know, to eradicate duckweed, would I meet the deadline to eradicate duckweed?
You're good with a deadline. I would say you would.
Yes, but it has to be... how do I phrase this? There has to be a consequence. Like some random person, not that you're a random person, Coro, but like I don't foresee any consequences other than.
I mean, Jenna says like if you miss the deadline, you lose a tank. Like for every day you miss it, you lose a tank.
Yeah, but even still, in the back of my mind, I know that she wouldn't enforce it. So
she's not an enforcer. You would need someone who would be an enforcer. I don't see her as an enforcer.
Yeah, there has to be real consequences or real benefits to meeting the deadline.
I don't know if I'm an enforcer. I just never tell Jake what to do. So
he just does it. He just knows.
He just knows what to do. I mean, he also doesn't tell me what to do. So we're just self-governing individuals. Yeah. Yeah, Jake does chores without me telling him to do them. He just does them. He's a farm boy.
He's got chores in his blood.
It's true. It's true. I mean, he sees a cat box, he has to clean it. It's just it's years of shoveling manure.
Yeah, a cat box is nothing compared to that.
It's so true. God.
So Green Machine Sweden doesn't have a question, but wanted to say thanks. December, he had asked about cold hardy plants from Japan. One of us, maybe both of us, suggested Blixa japonica. He bought one, and then he asked about pruning last week. Done it and loved it.
I love it. It's one of my favorite plants. I love it. I've got a wad of it growing in at the front of this tank, and I'm glad you like it too. I think it's great.
I still have that Blixa Albertii or whatever.
That one's really nice.
But whichever one, I think it was advertised as something else, but it might be misidentified. I don't know yet, but it's under the light. It's getting
super tall.
This one's not. I mean, I've had it for a little while and it hasn't. It's japonica height, but it's getting redder. So
Albertii gets like 30 inches tall or more.
Okay, yeah.
And mine died back. It was huge and growing over the side of the tank. But my CO2 was out when I was in Germany for like 2 whole weeks, and
that'll throw a wrench in a thing.
Didn't come back. So, but I had a good time in Germany. So,
awake during the day like a human.
Whoa, awful. Michael, we don't get to see you much. Catfish po' boy for lunch. That feels like something Stephen would eat.
I would.
I feel like I've seen you eat a catfish po' boy.
I mean, if I'm going to go to a place with a po' boy, that's probably the kind I'm going to get.
Because you're not going to get a shrimp po' boy.
That used to be one of my go-tos, but not anymore.
But not anymore. I think we had po' boys together, and I got shrimp. So, and Jake got shrimp.
So Scotty went to an auction yesterday, got Limnophila hyperidoides, and I have that one, and I like it. And Pogostemon yada bienus.
Yada bienus.
Gotta look that one up.
Yada bienus.
Yada be. Pogostemon yada be.
I don't know that one. I mean, it's a Pogostemon. There's a better than even chance that it's an easy weed, I guess.
Yeah. All right, let's look at some photos of this What does it?
Maybe it's pretty, like Pogostemon erectus is the best flowers. Super pretty. No, it's kind of weedy. It looks a lot like octopus, honestly. It's not super great. Well,
yeah, I'd say meh, but it's a new plant, you know, maybe.
Enjoy.
Oh, hey, grow it out of your tank.
Oh, hello.
Flowers.
Put it outside in your pond. So here, don't make the mistake I did. So I tried to grow Pogostemon erectus outside in my pond, and I put it directly in my bog, and it got sun scalded. Put it a little lower in your pond, like 10-15 inches deep maybe, and let it grow up and out so it transitions a little bit more gradually. And I mean, those are pretty flowers. Pogostemon erectus is super pretty. I've seen pictures of people growing that out the top of their tanks, and it's all blooming, and it's really, really, really pretty. And my standards for pond plants are high because, like, they need to, like, perform well. So,
that's a different kind of flower with the close-up of it. Interesting. Okay, yeah, grow it outside because looks like submersed. It looks just like a regular aquarium weed.
Yeah, kind of submersed. It's pretty not great, but it has good flowers. So give it a shot, unless it's invasive in your area, which I'm assuming it's tropical. So you're probably okay. Because I think Scotty and I are in the same grow zone, or one off maybe. So. Jody says, with the sun coming up earlier, I'm getting green dust algae every single day on the glass that faces the east windows. Make it stop. Shades, that might be your only option. I mean, it may not even be the light. It may be something seasonal in your water. So like if farmers are fertilizing a lot because you have a well. I get algae in the fall, and I don't have a good reason for that. But
if it's a side... If it's a side of the tank, I would say just let it grow. Like, so I have, as my background today, I have the plant farm, and you can see on my, facing me on the right side, there's some moss growing up on the wall that just sort of spontaneously appeared one day. Maybe it hitchhiked on a plant, but that glass is facing a window, and there's some green dust algae that started on the glass. I just leave it because then it starts shading out the rest of the tank, so I'm not getting as much hair algae if I have things out of balance. Because there are weeks where we do a big shipment, I harvest the hell out of the plant farm, and suddenly the plant mass is reduced, and then algae is kind of wanting to take over a little bit unless I stay on top of it.
Yeah. Right. I only have the mental wherewithal to scrape my tanks one day a week. If it needs more than that, then it's not going to happen.
Jody, if you don't have a magnetic scraper, maybe that if you want to invest in one of those, like not the mag float. If you tell me the thickness of your glass, I'll send you a link to a ridiculously powerful one.
I don't like magnetic scrapers because I have pinched my finger on them a couple times.
They're strong.
And
you don't want to do that.
I really like the razor blade on a stick.
I like those too.
That's the kind I like. Though if you're really short, I could see why you wouldn't like them. But Jody is not short, so
yeah. I just wonder like the height of that 200 something gallon.
Well, that's true. I mean, but even to work in that tank, with a tank that big, unless you're very tall, you might need a step stool. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I get why it would make you sad to have that in your living room, Jody. I get it, in your big tank. And you have the biggest flipper magnet scraper. You could try keeping your shades shut during the part of the day when the direct sun hits it. Maybe that would help, but it could be something seasonal in your water too. It's kind of hard to do something about that unless you're committed to the full RO lifestyle. So
she said, I'm way behind in chat. Okay, so I will say the flipper magnet scraper, having on the biggest one, is overrated, like way overrated.
But you've got a better option for her. Okay.
Yeah, it's expensive, and if you pinch your finger on one, this thing would probably like break your finger off if you got it between your finger.
Yeah, that's why I don't like those, because I'm scared of them, and I just like the magnet on a stick. So Coralworks says, I'm tired of hair algae. I don't really struggle with algae in glass. It's always hair algae. In my opinion, hair algae is the worst algae, because I don't really get
it's the worst algae that you deal with.
Algae. Yeah, I don't really get blackbeard algae. I have in other places I've lived, and I think that one is maybe worse. But yeah,
we'd have to start a new life to get rid of duckweed.
It would be difficult, Chelsea. Yeah. It would be difficult. And, you know, with a baby, I doubt you're like obsessing over duckweed. It's just there are other priorities.
Yeah. Damn. So here's my consequence. Every day you miss the duckweed deadline, Jenna will work on creating a Tinder account, and hopefully I don't procrastinate too many days.
You know, Jenna, as someone who has done online dating, that is more of a punishment for you than for Stephen, by far. By far. It's not great. It's not great.
Let's see. Scrolling down. I didn't realize how behind in chat I was, so I want to see.
Was my internet kind of flicking on and off?
Just for a second, you went robotic, but you're fine now.
Yeah, I don't know what's up. Who knows? I mean, we have a little bit of rain moving through right now, but it's pretty gentle rain. It's not like a storm or anything. Any opinions on P. helferi? I don't like stems, so I don't like it. That's my opinion.
I like it. It's not a super fast grower. It's not invasive. It won't take over your tank. No, so if you like the look of it, yeah, it's. I mean, it looks very different from other pogos. Have you ever seen it? Do you know which one he's talking about?
Yeah, I've grown it.
Talking about. Let's see, pogo stemmen helferi.
Yeah, I've grown it. I just
haven't seen it.
It's not my jam. I mean, people love it because it looks like Sideshow Bob's hair.
Right. And this is like one sprig of it. I mean, you let it grow, it'll branch out and it'll just like become a big ball of it.
Yeah. I think it's a little harder to grow than, well, it's a lot harder to grow than Pogostem and Stellatus octopus, because that is a low bar to clear.
It's not, yeah, this one's not, I wouldn't consider it a weed.
Yeah, it's a little more advanced.
CO2 injection helps it along quite a bit, and it needs high light too.
Yeah. I mean, I have grown it. I don't know why I don't like it. I mean, because, you know, you would think I would like it because it's sort of like Blixa japonica in habit, right? Doesn't get super tall, doesn't grow super fast.
Hey, that's a stem. So,
but Blixa japonica, I think,
you do like stems. Better. You're just very selective. You don't like anything that looks
very
like a stem.
Very selective. Yeah. Mickham says, I only keep Pogo erectus. It's growing really great. I may get the helferi tomorrow. Pogo erectus, I think, is only worth growing for the flowers. It's very beautiful, the flowers. So grow it out of your tank is what I would.
I had the helferi for a while.
Yeah, you did. I think I saw you when you had. I think I saw it in your tank.
Yeah, probably the year prior. I got rid of it this past year, so I don't have it anymore.
How many times have we come to see you? 3?
3.
Yeah.
Rebecca does an algae clean, finds the green dust, diatoms grow back, and the more you scrape them, you usually set something up, let it grow, then do one clean, and after that, the bacterial films cover it.
That could be true. If you have a really great population of Clethon snails, they can really keep it down. My
green dust algae is pretty much anything that will just eat soft algae. I think even autosynclus will probably go for it.
Yeah, autos will. And those are nice little fish. As long as you can get healthy ones. They're nice little fish.
Yep.
Eat a big group.
And of course, the greatest green dust eater of all, the bristlenose pleco.
But then you like they cause more problems than they help.
It's like, then you have plecos.
So then
I
you
don't think
have
Rebecca
plecos.
minds that so much, but
It's true. She is pro pleco, but I don't want plecos. So I'm amazed you ever have green dust algae, Rebecca. You've so many goddamn plecos.
probably up the light just to get some more growth on it. So using aquarium background tape to tape something on the sun. I mean, yeah.
I think Stephen knows where you could get some.
I think we do have a few left, but we've given away so much when we finally started getting the fish room punk stuff. Like I shifted to that immediately.
Because you were so bored with it.
I mean, it's a fish room punks is like a much more exciting thing to give away.
Are you saying you're not excited by aquarium background tape? Come on.
I will say it does its job, and
it does its job. It's true. Maybe you could use it for other purposes. You could tape a present with it, maybe, or
right.
I don't know. You could tape up a reminder note to clean your duckweed out of your tank.
And great warning from Skittle Puke.
Oh,
Careful with magnetic scrapers if you use black diamond blasting sand. Some pieces seem to be very slightly magnetic, and I've had them get picked up by the scraper. Quick way to fuck up your glass. Yeah. I haven't had the experience with black diamond sand being magnetic, but just in general, sand getting between the scraper and the glass is not good.
That's true. That is a true statement. Yeah, I'm more worried about my fingers, especially with those super powerful ones. But your glass is also at risk. So
yeah. I heard if you put copper pipe in a small tub, it will clear the water.
That seems probably.
You've got copper,
unlikely. That seems pretty unlikely. But
maybe it just depends on what's clouding up the water.
Yeah, I'm skeptical. Very, very skeptical.
Try it out, but not with like invertebrates in there.
Well, I mean, but a lot of us have copper piping in our,
I just wonder, like,
and how much copper is it really leaching into the water? I mean, I have
our copper piping though on the inside usually has a coating. Now, old copper pipes maybe not so much.
My house was built in 1911. It's
also,
really old fucking copper piping.
Your pH has a lot to do with how much copper actually.
Yeah, and my pH is pretty neutral, so it's pretty close to 7, maybe 7.2. So, but I am skeptical that the copper will dissolve at any kind of rate to make any kind of physiological difference, because plants are not what I would call especially sensitive to copper, unless it's and that's probably true of algae also, unless it's at like really, really high quantities, and it's just not going to dissolve that fast. Otherwise, people would have no pipes in their house if it dissolved that fast. So I'm skeptical, but if it makes you happy to try it, you can try it.
Try things.
All right, you're going to fumigate the house, Coro says, and I'm going to be moving all my tanks either outside or the garage temporarily. Any advice? Stressed thinking about it. I would be stressed too. Mm-hmm. I would look at your 10-day forecast and make sure you don't have a heat wave coming. I know you live in a very mild climate, but you have had some really crazy heat waves. I mean, some really, really bad ones. So I would keep an eye out for that. Otherwise, I would try to keep them out of direct sunlight. I mean, if they're the garage, that shouldn't be an issue. But if they're going outside, maybe, put like a tarp to block the sun or something, because you don't want them to get too hot or too stressed. I mean, your plants will be fine for a little bit. I just don't want your fish to be stressed.
Right. I can't even imagine moving any of my tanks out, like having my house fumigated. This was before we had tanks, but back when we had carpet in the house, there was one year where we had a horrible flea infestation, just living in the carpets, and we had to flea bomb the house, and you have to do it again a couple of weeks later to get the hatchlings. Yeah,
we just don't get that up in the north. I mean, it's not like we don't get fleas in the summer, because we do. And like the cats all have to have flea protection. And like my dog did when she was alive. We don't do it in the winter months though, because the cold kills it. So it kind of knocks back the population. We just don't have the bugs like you guys do. Oh, one more piece of advice. So I don't know what the half-life is of the fumigation stuff, but I wouldn't move everything back all at once. I would first move one tank that you don't care about quite as much.
Put your canary tank back in
there.
there.
And give it a couple days and see how it goes. Like, don't put your most precious fish in there first. So, yeah, I think that's the best advice I can give you. Good luck. That sucks, but you got to do what you got to do. I mean,
right.
Like if you have termites or something, like you have to address that because your house is at risk. So
Small Time Tank said, probably wouldn't do it with the copper. Just seen a video about a guy clearing algae from a cow drinking tub.
Yeah, I'm still skeptical that that's what did it, because I can tell you that green water sometimes just disappears for no reason. It appears and disappears. It just kind of, it's like a boom bust cycle. The population of the euglena, which is what they are, they're a paramecium, they just crash. So it could have been coincidental.
So Jody is wondering, if one were to add a UV filter, should it be added before the inline diffuser for the CO2? I don't think it matters. I mean, CO2 is inorganic, so it's not going to really.
Right. It's not going to affect that. If you have too many things in line, it does decrease the flow rate of your outflow. But I don't think that's going to be such an issue.
She just has the CO2 diffusers that she got from GLA.
Well, no, I mean like the speed of the water. If you have too many things in line, it slows it down.
Oh, yeah. And then she also has 2 canisters on that tank too.
Yeah, so I don't know. You could put. Well, ideally, you would want to, because you have such a big tank, you'd want to put your CO2 on both of them.
She does.
That's good. I don't think it would matter putting the UV on both of them, though. I don't know. Well, I mean, it would be more effective if you did, but.
Well, not necessarily, because it depends on what you want to get rid of. That's
true.
The flow rate for certain things doesn't, like for green water, it can flow pretty fast. If you're trying to get rid of parasites, I think it's got to be really slow. Otherwise, like the contact time has to be much longer.
Yeah, I've never heard anyone talk about the order of putting those in line. I don't think it would matter either, but maybe it does. I don't know. The one that's second in line is going to be slower. So maybe you would want the UV one there because it would be slowed down. I mean, not much, right? Mm-hmm. Pretty minimal, but it is going to be slower.
Yeah.
So,
dealing with fleas. Yeah. So, I mean, I assume that you've probably tried all the things before you went the nuclear route. Right. But, they have the powder. I don't know if diatomaceous earth works on fleas, but they do have like a flea killing powder that you just straight up sprinkle. Like you can coat your carpet in it, let it sit, vacuum it up, then do it again in a couple of weeks. If it's just in the carpet, but like if it's everywhere and you've tried everything, then you gotta nuke the house, and it sucks.
My problem with a lot of flea medications and sprays, they're made of pyrethrins or even synthetic pyrethroids, which are a natural compound. They're derived from, I think, dianthus, like carnation flowers. I'm horribly allergic to it. So I got I can't remember what brand it was. Like, it was like Advantix or something for one of the cats. And it would make my whole face go numb and feel like someone smacked me in the face with a 2x4 for days on end. And like, you can't avoid but getting it on you because like you put it on the cat, but the cat's going to rub up against you. You're going to want to pet the cat. Like it just gets all over you. And so I have to be really careful what I use, like not to use any synthetic pyrethroids or even I wouldn't even use natural pyrethroids. So I hope I never have to get my house fumigated for fleas because I would be afraid of what they would use. Like
it wouldn't be good.
Yeah, not good. I don't know why I'm so sensitive to that, but I am.
But yeah, like even so, Chorus's DE works on anything with an exoskeleton, but it doesn't affect the
Yeah,
larvae or the pupae,
very
and it's
true.
bad for the cats to breathe in. Yeah, it's the other
It
thing. You
is.
have
It's
other
bad for you.
animals.
It's bad for you to breathe in too. Yeah. I mean, it's not good for your skin. I don't know that I would want to get it around my aquariums.
What was the actual
Yeah,
first
tough.
Echinodorus identified?
I
And
don't know. Maybe Rebecca would know.
who wants to argue that it
Oh,
was
Echinoderms. I'm
actually
sorry. I was thinking echinoderm for a moment.
uh,
That's really different. Echinoderms. I don't know. I have no idea. Probably the plain green one, which I guess would be Amazonicus, because that was in the aquarium trade in the 70s even.
yeah,
I mean,
maybe.
I remember in the 80s we bought a couple of them and they did nothing. So,
Hmm.
but I don't know if it was identified out in the wild then. I have no idea.
Yeah, like how long before it was in the aquarium trade was one of those identified?
Yeah, and Blairi implies Heiko Blair. So, I mean, he's old, but he's still living. So, Echinodorus, I assume.
Yeah.
Assume nothing has happened to him. But
So
yeah. Well, his parents also, like, his mother was like I think Echinodorus, she found it. He's a weird life story. His mother was an exploratory botanist. I think Blair might be named after her. Anyways, I don't know. Okay. A study in 2008 found out it was Grisbachii that was identified first in taxonomy. Okay. I don't really know a lot about aquarium taxonomic history.
Daniel's asking, did the crypts get there okay? They did, and I thought I messaged you and I didn't. Now that I'm thinking about it, sorry about that. And thank you, Daniel. He sent me a crypt key.
Nice. Oh, I can't wait to see what that one looks like when it
He
grows
was
up. I don't know that one. I've never
he was
grown it.
concerned mailing them for the first time, and then like he pulled up some where like the roots, not all the roots came with it. But the great thing about crypts is if you've got intact leaf or you have intact roots, you don't need both. You just need one or the other. You can have a whole
back.
crypt.
They come back. Yeah, crypts are great that way.
Yeah, and so far so good.
And Daniel, my goal is to get to the post office tomorrow and mail everybody's pond plants out. I wrote up a guide to growing lotuses on Friday, so I have directions written up for everyone. I just need to get everything boxed up, and then I have to go buy packing tape because Jake said he was going to leave me packing tape, but we forgot because he has packing tape in his car, and I'm out. So
I guess I could show what the ponds are looking like these days. So this weekend, I ordered a bunch more pond weeds this weekend, and I did.
Well, you don't have a lot of room left for your water lilies.
Well, I have the purple lily from Nancy, and that's the only lily that's going to go in here. And so, it's got 4 pads, like it's brand new, sprouting up.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, so, one lily.
Yeah.
I mean, that
so that'll be.
I think gets pretty big. I think that one gets as big as one visa.
Okay. Well, we'll see. I am.
You'll see. It'll do
happy
what it does.
To remove I'm happy to remove this pot if I need to, and even this other pot next to it. And they're all kind of at the surface of the water because I'm still like planting weeds. Let's see what grows. Let's see what I like, and then the other ones will make won't make the cut. I'll just toss them.
You'll figure out what you want to do.
I took 2 old like pink and blue trick-or-treating buckets that were in the back room.
Good choice.
I lined them with garbage bags, filled them with clay and dirt and gravel on top so that I could plant the hibiscus.
Oh, good choice.
This is a papyrus.
I tried to grow hibiscus last year, and I think maybe even year before, and it just did not do well. But Nancy, I think, had really good luck with it. I think I got bad plants. I just bought them from like Lowe's or Home Depot. And they were no bueno.
The canna didn't waste any time.
Yeah, that's the
Blooming.
best canna. That pink canna
Mhm.
erebus. It is better than all other cannas in a pond. I love it.
And this is a pickerel in the front. I forgot which one gets taller, the hibiscus or the pickerel. So
The
I'll
pickerel gets pretty
swap them out.
tall. So if you grow it with dirt and you fertilize it, or clay, like so I use kitty
It's
litter,
no
you use
dirt in
yard
this
dirt.
one. The square
It
ones are
gets
gravel.
about as tall as the can. Well, not quite as tall as the canna, but almost as tall as the canna, and it blooms like mad. I don't
Gotcha.
think your heat would slow it down. It's native to the northern part of your state, but I don't think the range quite goes down to where you live.
Okay.
So, but I love that plant. And
There's
it
like a
does
collie
so much
cage.
better if you fertilize it and you have it in proper substrate than in gravel. Like I can't
Uh,
even believe the difference.
I'm putting a root tab in there, but yeah, it's not in dirt right now. It's just in the gravel.
Yeah,
Um,
if you move it to dirt, it's so worth it. Because I used to always grow it in gravel thinking it was no big deal. And I would get a bloom maybe one at a time. No one get that big. But then last year, I had a brand new plant and I potted it up just like I do the cannas. So for me, it was a mixture of kitty litter and cheap topsoil. Fertilized it regularly, and oh my god, it was just covered in flowers nonstop until frost. And it got enormous, really, really nice. So I'm going to do it again because I really liked it.
oh, I'm
So
sorry, JP Jeffries. I saw your question, had it mentally pinned in my head, and I forgot to
it
answer it. But
happens.
Jenna got it. I use Power Director. It's getting a lot of AI features that some of them are pretty cool and some of them are really stupid. But like I use the Power Director AI feature to make Foxy's bear come to life. That video that she showed with when someone gifts a membership. It's fun.
Nice. Nice. So Mickham
All
says, I
right.
often envy the ones of you able to keep tubs and ponds. It's way too cold during winter here, or let's say 7 to 9 months of the year. I mean, I live in the north. Like it's fairly cold here. I mean, I can't really get my pond goes from like May to like mid-May to mid-October, really. So, I mean, I have a couple more months than that, but Big Cat is up in Canada in and it's colder where he lives than where you live even. His season is pretty short, but he grows water lilies. So, I mean, they are hardy up in cold Canada. So, not all of Canada is cold, but where he lives is cold. So, I mean, I feel like when your growing season is short, you just really have to make the most of it. You have to enjoy every second of it. And that's why I invest so much time and money into gardening outside
Right, buying
because
the annuals every single year.
yeah, it's so, because it's so depressing in the winter here and it's so sad. And I look forward to it all year. And it's short, May through October for me, and that's it. So, and I'm in zone 6A in Fort Wayne, Indiana. So not super cold, but cold enough, like cold compared to where Stephen lives.
Hmm.
When I lived in Iowa, I was zone 5. My parents used to be zone 4B at one point in Iowa, but climate change, now they're 5A, I think. So, but yeah, I'm 6A. Not too bad. We're just on the border of 5B and 6A though, so I'm barely 6A. So,
So, Jeff Tucker, that's a new name. Welcome in,
hi Jeff,
Jeff.
welcome.
Planted some spider plant pups in his aquarium. So I did too this weekend. My mom had a giant spider plant. She was dividing it, and I got some cuttings. In fact, you can see
Yeah,
it.
they
I
grow
got one out
real
here
well. Oh,
in the
you're growing
pond.
them outside. Yeah, that makes sense. They
And
grow
inside
real
too. She
well.
gave me a bunch, but
Nice.
actually, Jeff clarified that he's got it submerged with CO2 injection. So I don't
I have
know how that's going
I'm
to be.
sure that people have tried that plant because it is a very common plant in the house plant trade. Everybody's got a spider plant. I'm sure it's been tried. I've never personally tried it. I somehow doubt it will work long term. So, because for instance, I have pothos growing out of some of my tanks. I have a lot of immersed plants growing out of my tanks. And sometimes the pothos and sometimes the philodendrons too will kind of get their way below the surface and they'll grow for a while, but they're not happy and they kind of die back. So, I mean, you can try it, but I'm pretty skeptical it would work. So,
what do you know about strawberry ribbon grass?
I don't know anything about it. Let me look it up. That's a common name, and it might be called something else.
Yeah.
Well,
I got
a
bunch
lot
of
of grasses are native to like prairies. Some of them can take wet feet, and some of them can't.
Well, this was from a place called Pond Plants Online.
Oh, okay.
But it may not work. I don't know. The photo that they showed was way cooler than the bullshit that they sent me. I don't know.
So here
maybe it was kind of dried out.
So there's one from Ball Seed Company. They're a big grower for annuals. Strawberries and cream ribbon grass. The ones I see are like a landscape plant. And I have grown that. Not in a pond. I've grown that like in containers.
Okay. Well,
and I mean, I don't think they really like super wet feet. They're not what I would call water hogs. They like to dry out. Now, this pond company, I don't know what they're calling it. So, you know, I mean,
click on my order. What the hell?
Maybe it'll work. Maybe it won't. It's hard to say. So Coro asks me, can Marsilea or baby tears or whatever grow immersed? I think so. If for Marsilea, I'm pretty sure. But you need to make sure it doesn't dry out. Like, I think it needs wet feet.
Oh, I ordered.
I have grown Marsilea, the giant one, the water clover. That one is really pretty, and that one does really well. Marsilea, let me tell you, it's like quadrifolia, maybe.
You see this cattail that I ordered, where my mouse is circling. That's what they sent me for a cattail. Like,
well, that is small.
Yeah.
Marsilea mutica. That's the one I've grown in a pond, and it sends up clovers like pads. It's super pretty, super pretty. I really liked it. Yeah, Marsilea mutica. I really liked it. That is really tiny, but cattails are extremely vigorous and get huge, which is why I've never grown them, because they're just too much. They're just too much.
Cool. I hope
my
it does
ponds
that.
are not as big as yours, so give it a go and see
lizard
how
tail and a bunch of other random stuff. And again, whatever gets taller, I got the pots, shift them around and
you
stuff.
can play musical pots. You can shift down to fewer pots if you want more room for your lilies. I mean, you just have to
one of these lily pots is just going ape shit, and the other one
that's not that big.
No, it's
early in the season.
But look at this one compared to the one in the background. Like, it's interesting.
It might be getting a little less sun there. I wonder.
But the one in the back actually flowered, and this one has not. So what the hell?
Hard to say. Maybe it got a bigger piece of tuber. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, anyway, whenever you send me another lily, I have 3 pots.
I'm not sending you a lily.
Oh, you're not? Okay.
Or wait, am I?
I thought you were sending me a
oh, you're right. I am.
Pink beauty.
I have everybody's names on what they're getting. You're getting lotuses for sure. I think I have a pink beauty for you.
Whatever you send me, I'll be happy with, and I'll make room for it.
Well, that's good. Yeah, I think I'm sending you. I put people's names on them so I wouldn't forget who I'd promised them to. So I'm not sending out near as many lilies this year because I've already sent these to people. And Nancy B sent out so many lilies to people, which is great because, that's why I hope that people will, spread the love and they'll send them to other people too. So,
yeah,
she sent them to lots of people. So it's good.
All right.
So Renee asked, does anyone have any tips on the Rubbermaid bulkhead fittings? I don't know anything about those. I've never heard of them. Do you know anything?
I used a bulkhead fitting on the back of this bog filter. I don't know if it was a Rubbermaid one. It was just one that I got from Home Depot. It worked. I mean,
I guess I've used bulkhead fittings too. I am not a good person to ask plumbing questions to, because I kind of just outsource that to Jake.
Yeah, I mean, I've used 2 or 3 bulkhead fittings in my entire life, and they all worked. So I don't know what
mine
the
have all
issue
worked
might
too.
be. Potential issues, and I've never like plumbed a whole bunch of aquariums, and
if there's someone in the chat who has plumbed an auto water change system, maybe Chelsea would know. If she's in the chat, I don't know if she still is, but she might know.
See, did you get this question from Coro about the ground cover?
I missed it. In landscaping and gardening, we often use ground cover plants as opposed to mulch in between plants. Are there any ground covers for our pond marginals? Sphagnum, Java moss, hairgrass, creeping Jenny. Man, I think it might be pretty invasive where you live though, so be careful. Like, it even survives the winter here, but barely, and so it's manageable and doesn't bother me. However, I believe it is a noxious weed where you live, so you might not want to grow it. But if it's already taking over your entire yard, you can use it. You're not going to be contributing any more to problems. And that's what I use as a ground cover. There's also, let me go get it from outside. Hang on.
Okay.
Stephen, entertain the masses.
All right. I will search for another question. Get out of here. Anubias congensis. I don't have it. Pretty hardy. Yeah, I've never had an Anubias that wasn't hardy, except for the white Anubias that I'm growing right now, whatever it was called, Snow White, Ghost, Stupid, whatever you want to call it. It's kind of annoying. I got a tissue culture of like 5 of them, and 2 out of 5 are doing okay. I think it's a light CO2 dependent relationship to get that tissue culture to do something. But otherwise, regular Anubias, never had a problem with it.
All right.
Yeah.
So I grew this last year. So this is, show you the tag. So this says it's Lysomachia numeralaria, which is creeping Jenny.
Focus.
Not focusing. Focus.
You have to put it in front of your face.
All right.
There you go.
Okay. So this is a different creeping Jenny, but it looks very different. So the leaves are huge compared to regular creeping Jenny. Regular creeping Jenny has really tiny leaves.
Yeah,
but this is variegated, and it blooms like crazy, and it gets like these golden flowers that are really, really pretty. Yeah, it looks way different. Yeah, but I get this at the garden center. I somehow doubt it's really Lysomachia numeralaria. Because the regular creeping Jenny, I think the cultivar is like Aura, which means gold in Latin. So I wonder if it's not creeping Jenny, but I grew this last year in my pond and it was awesome. Like, it bloomed so good. So you could look for that at the garden center. It's cheap. I mean, this little pot of annuals was like $4. I bought 2 of them. It's not quite as good of a ground cover as creeping Jenny, but it gets really pretty gold flowers, and it's just something else to grow. You can also do Bacopa. There is so use the Bacopa that we grow in aquariums. Don't get Bacopa from garden centers, because Bacopa from garden centers is not actually Bacopa. It gets called Bacopa, but the species is not Bacopa, and it actually likes it kind of dry. So that won't help you. But if you grow Bacopa like Monieri or Caroliniana, those will, when they're immersed, will kind of creep, and they have pretty blue flowers. And I've grown those as a ground cover, like over the gravel in my bog box, and they do really well. So I'm trying to think what else I've grown as ground covers. I think just those 3 things I've done. So give them a try. All right, Jeff, another question. Will a pond and say a kiddie pool work to use as a propagation tank for plants over the summer? Better than an aquarium since it gets sunlight? Sure. I mean, the more shallow something is, the more sun it'll get. You're always going to be limited with immersed plants by CO2.
Yeah, like that's the caveat with, because like I put Rotala outside this year, and I put some Vallisneria in that big pool that I just showed.
Yeah.
And like getting these ponds reset and established, there is, especially in the small one and with the direct sun, there is a shit ton of algae. Hair algae abounds, and I'm manually removing it until I get more plant mass to fight the algae. So that's kind of your challenge, because you don't get to like dim down the sun and ramp it up gradually as your plants grow. You have the sun, and then you have your however much work you want to put in to manage algae. You can put shades on there, but yeah, you kind of like, you can't really manage CO2 outside, so you have to manage your light.
And for me, I don't bother with any submerged plants because I have so many water lilies, they're just going to get covered up. So yeah. I don't bother. I mean, submerged plants are for indoors. Outdoor pond plants are way cooler anyways than any of these plants are. I mean, these are great indoors, they're enjoyable, but like
trying to farm a crap ton of aquarium plants, like I've had to ramp up doing, I
would still say if your goal is to really farm a ton of pond plants, you should just get a CO2 farm tank. I mean, that's the best way.
But think about how much Rotala I could grow in that giant pool if I wanted to.
I mean, that's, our good friend Tim. That's what he's doing right now. He is digging a huge pond for propagating Rotala, and he's got raised beds for growing it immersed. I mean, he's Rotala Tim. We're gonna have him on Wet Your Plants when he's finished with his pond, so we can
for sure
hear all about it.
I do like the crime pays, but botany does it, guy Tommy. Yeah,
that's a great channel. That's great. Get rid of the lawn, grow natives. Yeah. I mean, mowing sucks. It's not very fun. And, growing other stuff is fun, but lawns have their place. Like, you don't want your dog to pee in your native flower bed. So if you have a dog, they need a little bit of lawn, or if you have toddlers. But I would still say you can still have flower beds.
I say grow natives in the front lawn, and in the dogs I don't send the dogs to the front.
I mean, it depends. I only have one yard. I have a very tiny side yard, and it is the size of a postage stamp. So my yard can be mowed in about 2 minutes. So.
Mickey M. So my answer is easy for a dream pond, because I don't even know yet. I am still in the like a million baskets. Let me see what grows in that spot, the work I'm willing to put in, and then I'll rearrange it, and then I'll know what I like. I don't know what I like yet. So
I know my dream pond.
Yeah.
I want a pond big enough to grow Victoria. You can look it up. It's those things that have the massive pads that like you can put a baby on, or like a full-grown human, and it will support them. And the flowers they're bigger than my head. They're enormous. It's such a cool plant.
Yeah,
and I figure if I had a pond big enough to grow that, then my pond would finally be big enough. Yeah, it's an awesome plant. I was at Missouri Botanical Gardens, which is a place it's in St. Louis. I highly recommend you go if you're near St. Louis. It's an amazing place. And they grow all kinds of Victoria there. It's an awesome plant. Obviously not hard.
You need a lake.
Climate. You have to replant it every year, but so worth it. So worth it.
Your dream pond is a large lake.
Well, I mean, Jake has a farm. We should just dig it up. I mean, he has a swamp in his farm too. Though it's not as bad now because like he had drainage tile put in. But like every year he was getting a swamp on like half an acre of his farm. So anyways, that's my dream pond. But my yard is the size of a postage stamp.
Yeah, I figured your answer would just be like bigger and more of what you already have going on.
Yeah, I really like these raised ponds. I think they're easy to work in. and a bigger one would be also fun. But if you have enough real estate for a giant pond that big, you could probably also have like the big wooden box ponds, you know. So
Update on Lobelia aranus.
okay.
Skittlebeak says it hated the water just like you said
Yeah,
it
oh yeah,
would.
that's the garden center lobelia, like the blue
Uh,
lobelia. Yes, it does hate it. It likes it dry. Yeah, the Lobelia Queen Victoria. So that's Lobelia cardinalis. Any Lobelia cardinalis will do well. The Queen Victoria is just really pretty. I should have grown some from seed this year. I should have done that. But I don't know. I've grown it before. I don't always like to grow the same things twice. So anyways, what about tiger lily? So I'm assuming you don't mean the land tiger lily.
yeah,
So the
maybe
thing in
yeah.
the
What's
aquarium
called the
trade,
red tiger lotus?
yeah,
It's another
it's called
nymphaea.
tiger lotus. It is not a
Yeah,
lotus because lotuses
but
are most plants.
it would just be nice and big outside, right?
By nice and big, like you need it. Like it needs to get 10 foot across. The pads will get that big. It's enormous. And if you're going to have that much real estate, you should grow a more attractive water lily. There's
Yeah,
way
but
better
you
looking
can.
ones that are
One
bred
thing you
to
can do
perform.
is like drop some low light plants sitting below it if you really like the red tiger lotus. There's things you can get to grow pretty well below it.
If you have that kind
Filtered
of
sunlight.
if you have that kind of space though, like or if it's in sunlight, it's going to get big. If it's in a
Yeah,
pond outside, it's you can't stop it.
yeah. Well, that's the goal. Then go for it.
I don't know. There's just
Is
way better water lilies to grow. There's way better tropical ones, and they're all equally easy to grow. And some of them have blue, fragrant, enormous flowers that bloom every single day.
so
Like
if
I
your
would not
goal, just
waste my
because knowing how aquarists buy plants, if your goal was to grow a bunch and sell it at an auction, bringing a giant ass red tiger lotus and calling it an aquarium plant would be very enticing to people. Maybe
No,
not. It
because
wouldn't
like
be a
the
good.
thing
Well, no,
is
no, 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 no. I'm not saying.
it won't even look like an aquarium plant. It'll look like a pond plant
I know,
because
but
the pads will be this big and
you got to understand marketing. It's
they'll
not.
be on
It's not about
petioles
the
that are 15
practicality of it.
feet.
It's about what people look at and like and impulse buy. You got
They
to
won't
prey on their
even
emotions.
no, they won't even recognize it. They won't even recognize
Even
it as an
better,
aquarium
they'll be like,
plant. They'll
"Whoa,
see it
what's that?"
and they'll be like, wow, that's a pond plant because it's got petioles that are 5 feet long and the pads are
Maybe,
that big around. And
maybe we're
they'll be
talking
like,
about the
no, you
same
mislabeled
people
a pond plant.
who will pay triple for a guppy grass because it's in a bigger bag than what they're used to seeing.
I mean, you can try it, but like, I don't think you're going to get anywhere. And if you're going to grow a water lily that's that big, you should grow a more awesome one. And you can grow ones that will come back every year in cold climates.
Would
So
it be
there's
worth
just better
making a
ones.
CO2 farm tank outside or just put a sponge filter in the outside tank and call it a day?
I don't think I would trust a CO2 tank in your heat. Ooh, that doesn't seem safe. Man, I wouldn't do it. I would not do it in
Yeah,
the
I have no
heat down in
idea.
Texas. Oh, I would not feel comfortable with that. What
Don't
if a
know.
storm knocks it over? What if like a raccoon knocks it over? Like I I don't think it's a good idea. I've never seen anyone do it because it
It's
doesn't feel
pierced by a
safe.
stray bullet because it's Texas.
So hot down there. Oh yeah, stray bullet. Yeah, it's Texas. Yeah. I I would not feel safe doing that. Really, the only thing that outside gains you is super powerful unlimited light, but we are living in the era of cheap ass lights.
Yeah.
You know, it used to be like 15, 20 years ago when I first started growing plants that light was expensive. But that is not the case. Like NICRU lights are more than bright enough for most people. Like, unless you have a super deep tank. But if you are like growing things in like a 20 long or something, like cheap ass NICRU lights are good enough. They may not be aesthetically pleasing or bougie enough for you, which is important. But the sun
Yeah.
really, yeah, and outdoor CO2 is not safe. So But if you want to put a tank outside, your biggest issue in Texas is keeping it from getting hot. So you kind of have to keep it in the shade, which means it's not going to get any light. Or we might get a little light. You could put it where it got some morning sun or something. But like, Ted, he keeps tanks outside. But remember, Ted lives in New Jersey. It's not Texas. Like, you guys live in a much hotter place. So just keep that in mind. Like, even indoors, your tanks get, with air conditioning, Stephen, your tanks get pretty hot because you can't do cold water changes even. Right?
No, not really.
Yeah.
I can do a lukewarm, acceptable water change in the middle of the night when it's dark.
Yeah.
And it's still like in the 80s.
Yeah. So I would never put tanks outside in Texas just because of the heat. It's just,
nah.
I mean, you could maybe put them outside in the spring though, and take them back.
There's a lot you can get away with based on, like, depending on what your goal is and what kind of fish, and
Yeah,
it's just when you put it outside, you're less in control, and like you think of an aquarium as like a controlled system, and when you put it out in the sun, you're kind of at the whim of nature.
I mean, even keeping fish outside, you're giving up control over your system. Like, I would never put precious rainbows outside because what if a raccoon eats them? What if a fucking cat eats them? I mean, that's a real issue.
But she said I could keep the tank inside, just asking in theory. So there you go. Inside.
There you go. There's your in theory. I mean, you have lots of tanks inside.
So Lumi's asking, will I be able to plant Colocasia, esculenta for extra shade? I don't know what that one looks like.
So there are lots of different Colocasias and Alocasias, and I've grown lots of them. This year I'm growing a Colocasia called Pharaoh's Mask. I'm very excited about it.
What's this one? I know it's one of those. I don't remember what it's called. But
I think that's some Colocasia, but there are a million varieties of them. And unless you told me the variety, I can't tell you like how tall it'll get.
Yeah,
like
I've grown that I have, so
coffee cups. I've grown like red Hawaiian. There's so many of them. This year, though, Pharaoh's Mask is the one I'm doing. I'm very excited. They do provide a little bit more shade, but I wouldn't say they're a great shade plant. They just don't provide like a lot of canopy. Like, if you want something that shades the water really well, like water lilies are a good choice. They really shade the water. There's just lots of different Colocasias. Oh, that's a pretty one. What kind is that?
Esculenta Papua Menis.
Papua Menis. Yeah, there's tons of breeds of them.
Wow.
And I got mine from Brian's Botanicals.
I mean, this would be a hell of a shade plant if you let it get that big, like that.
I mean, I don't think it's gonna get that big in a pot. Like, it's not gonna do that. And also, that plant has been growing probably for several years.
Yeah,
which is not possible in my climate. Like, it has to be taken inside. There are some Colocasias that are hardy to like zone 6, but not most of them. Most of them are tropical. So
yeah, even the one that I have that I just showed, it lives, but it has to come back. Like, I can't just let it keep growing unless I bring it in, and maybe I'll bring it in. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I've brought them in before, and I store them in my basement, and I let them go fully dormant. You would probably keep them like a house plant.
Yeah, so I'm thinking
that would work too. Just keep a little portion of it as a house plant. Like, you wouldn't want to take in a giant thing. Like, or maybe you would. I don't know.
I think it is a mojito, Lumi. That sounds familiar.
Oh, yeah. I mean, that's one of the varieties. I like growing that one. I don't know. There's a million varieties at garden centers. People collect them. But yeah, I'm doing Pharaoh's Mask this year. And I'm psyched because there was this garden YouTuber and she was growing it in a container and it looked very awesome. So I had to get it.
A lot of your so-called easy plants die off in my pretty dark, low light soft water tanks. I mean, you can't deprive it of everything, or
Big Kitty is down here. He's taking his paw and he's going like that on my toes because I have on flip-flops.
Pick him up.
Lisa, come here, Big Kitty. Oh, come out. Oh, good.
So what does, Mickey, and what does do well in that environment for you? Which plants? Curious.
What do you think, Big Kitty?
He seems all right with that.
He's a more tolerant cat.
I mean, he has a scowl on his face, but that's just a cat.
He doesn't like it, but what's he gonna do about it? Kitty. He's very fluffy.
All right, scroll down at the bottom of the chat. So I'm curious. Yeah, Mickey says what does grow in that environment. Other than that, I don't see any other questions so far.
Megan says my Bacopa always comes from my LFS, so it's Bacopa for sure. Yep, that's the one that grows well in ponds. Though sometimes I've had it sold to me as a pond plant, and that also works. But if you get garden center kind, the kind that grows in containers, it's not Bacopa. It's called Bacopa, but the scientific name is not Bacopa, and it doesn't really like wet feet. I don't know why it's called Bacopa. Maybe it used to be. Maybe it's sort of related to a Bacopa. I don't know.
So Anubias, mosses, Microsorium, aka Java fern. Yeah, that makes sense. Those
they can take the lower light. Yeah.
And in CO2 limited environment, they sort of demand the lower light, or else they decline pretty quickly.
Yeah.
Is that cat a Maine Coon? Mary Oliver wants to know.
I mean, he might be part Maine Coon. I don't know. He was a street cat, and he just wanted to live in the house. And
it's a big cat. Yeah.
He's a very big kitty. He's like 20 pounds. He's very big. He has very big bones. His feet are big, and his head is big. He's not fat, but he is a very fluffy big kitty. So, yeah, that's why we call him Big Kitty.
And crypts,
crypts.
That makes sense. Those are
the low.
Those are kind of that's the list of plants that, like, even if you have like higher KH water, those still do okay as long as you leave the light down, and you got to be okay with your Java fern kind of looking crappy but being alive for the most part.
So the Aquatic News Network says back, sorry, I had a phone call. I've been hiding in a blind for 2 hours with my camera trying to get footage of a green heron fishing for tadpoles. That's pretty exciting.
Nice.
How are your frogs doing in your pond? Have you seen tadpoles?
Me?
Yeah.
The 1,000 tadpoles in that big one.
That's exciting.
Like a lot. They're getting very chunky.
No need for fish. You can just raise frogs. I would love to raise frogs, but
I think they're toads.
I don't think it's ever going to happen because there's too many cats. There's no toads around here. There's too many fucking cats.
Yeah.
I have significant cat pressure. It's a real problem. There's a new tiny cat who's been coming in the house. We haven't named him yet. We're just calling him the little cat for now. And he's a small orange cat, and he is very bold. Have I ever grown submersed golden creeping Jenny? It does grow submersed. I would say as stems grow, it's a little bit trickier of a stem. I think it kind of prefers CO2 because it's not the best plant for growing submersed. It grows submersed a little bit in my pond. I don't really ever go out of my way to grow creeping Jenny indoors, but I grow a lot of it outdoors because I like to grow it in containers, and I grow it always in my ponds because it looks really good.
Yeah, I've seen
some of them. It survives the winter here, so I don't even buy it anymore. But it's not what I would call super. I mean, it is not native, but it doesn't really spread much. Our winters knock it back enough, but like I know where Coralworks lives, it's much more of a problem. So
I saw a macroalgae question. Dee Dee has a salty question.
Okay.
Do they ever run CO2 for macroalgae?
So they don't, because the buffering system is very important for marine life.
Man, that
So
would be a
if you
lot of
were,
CO2.
if you were to inject CO2, you would reduce your pH, which is not conducive to coral growth or other marine life. So they don't.
I mean, I assume that that macroalgae in nature has that purpose of removing CO2 from the ocean because
Yeah,
CO2
it does
levels in the
remove.
ocean are
It
rising
does.
naturally. So
Yeah, it does. And oceans are high KH naturally. You would hope, unless they're becoming more
yeah,
acidic, which is bad,
yeah.
but they're pretty high KH naturally.
And
So
Coro's saying
no.
you would need to be dosing kalkwasser at the same time, which would just negate
Yeah, it
the
was
CO2
just
completely.
yeah, and people do dose kalkwasser.
Yeah.
It's so fun to say that if they grow a lot of stony corals, they dose kalkwasser, and they have CO2 for their calc reactors. So they use like lime, and they mix it with CO2 in a reactor to add more kalkwasser. I love saying
It's
that.
very confusing that it's called lime.
I'm sure there's
Calcium
historical
hydroxide.
reasons. Sure, there's historical reasons for that, but
Yeah. And then
use
sodium hydroxide, is that
Mrs.
lye
Wages
without the M?
Yeah. Sodium hydroxide is NaOH, and calcium and lime is CaOH. It's not quite. It is not as caustic,
And not the same as limestone.
and also not the same as limes, the citrus.
That you put in the coconut and drink it all up.
That's right, the kind that you make into a mojito.
Do not put that lime in the coconut.
Do not use Mrs. Wages pickling lime in your mojito. It will taste terrible.
Gross.
Yeah.
And never put the lye in anything. Except soap,
Also, don't lie to people. Tell the truth. Just do it.
Also, not all is the same. Not all lime is the same.
It's true.
Corey Dora.
Oh,
did you have a question
I
before
said
that?
Mickham says that sometimes limnobium or salvinia is floating plants. Yeah, floaters will always grow as long as they have enough light, because they get all the CO2 they want, and they're so close to your light source. Sometimes, with our super high powered lights, they get burned. Like, I don't think I could grow floaters with my Chihuahua lights. They would fry. So
you could do red root floaters because they love the ridiculous amount of light. I mean, they would look insanely purple, and
they would. I've grown those outside. I don't think they would like the circulation I have at the surface. So either way, they're
that's a problem.
Going to be made unhappy by something. So,
and then also
I have grown those outside.
You have like a very strong hatred for floaters anyway, so you would never do such a thing.
Yeah, I did. Floaters are for outdoors.
So
Lumi says that creeping Jenny thrives in the moist gravel waterfall. Did not make it through the winter here. So not all of it makes it, but little pieces of it make it. And that's enough for me to like repopulate everything. Like, I don't buy creeping Jenny anymore, but this kind did not make it, unfortunately. However, it's $4 a pot. So I don't really care.
Can we help Corey Dora guess the plant? Okay. He said he'll just comment his question when he remembers the plant name, but a bronzy terrarium plant that loves humidity.
Is it peperomia?
That was my guess too. And that's literally my only guess. I have nothing else.
Trying to think what else I have in my terrariums.
Yeah.
The only thing I have that's bronzy right now is peperomia. But I wouldn't say that I know everything about terrariums. I have a few of them, but
I know very little.
I have a few of them.
Every now and then I'll hand Lillian a plant. I'm like, hey, go try this in your terrarium and we'll see.
Mine are doing really well. My Awaza biorbs they're great. And they're work.
The auto misting is awesome.
Yeah, it's really nice. And I have a really thriving isopod population, which is the lowest work of any pet I've ever had. I do nothing for them, just nothing.
Do any plants grow well in black water tanks?
Sure, as long as they get enough light. The black
Yeah.
water does filter the light somewhat. But if they have adequate light, it's okay. They really like the low pH of them if it happens to be low
A
pH.
true, yeah. So
A
yeah,
true
a
black
true
water
black
tank
water
is.
tank, not someone who put some
Tea in their
botanicals in
tank.
their hard water. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah, then you're just like really like hindering yourself. But
yeah. Some will. Plants are always going to grow better in optically clear light, though, because the light isn't blocked. So,
Amazon swords can grow in that water. I think they could live
sure.
in toilet. Yeah, I mean they do
Yeah.
need some light, but not, yeah, also not all black water tanks are equal. Some people like just the slight tint. Some people like it to be Coca-Cola, and
And
you know it's
and
just the
some
light.
have more light on them than others. I mean, it just depends on if you're blasting it with a Chihiro's light. A lot of those wavelengths will make it through.
Yeah.
And they really
And
like the low KH if it's a true black water tank.
right. So Jeff's saying, I know it lowers pH and wondering if that affects it. So it only lowers pH if you have
To a
little
point.
to no buffer in your
Yeah, and if
in
you
your
have
tank.
like Iowa water, you can put all of the tannins and you put all the tea in your water you want, and it's still going to be pretty fucking high KH.
Yeah.
Like
And
there's
low
only so much you
pH,
can do.
low pH, low KH sends the equilibrium towards more dissolved CO2. So it's a good thing. So
Yeah,
your limitation there is light in that
yeah.
low tech environment.
But it's lights are easy and cheap and to come by these days, so you can just blast more light if
Yeah.
that's your goal.
I
I
mean,
just don't
how many
grow black
how
water shakes. I don't like the way they look. So
right, like in a Blackwater, but like in Blackwater environment, say like Rio Negro, for example, like how much plant life is really submerged there year round? I figure it's mostly marginals.
I think it's a lot because I was up in Michigan. Jake and we had a very fateful canoeing trip. So Jake and I are not really great canoers, and we were on the Manistee River in the lower peninsula of Michigan, but kind of no, this was the UP. This was in the UP. And so we were canoeing on that. And so like the first part of this trip was like really, really nice. It wasn't too swift. And it was shallow, but it was black water because all the water there for like they call it root beer water that it goes over the
Mhm.
falls because it's all very, very tannic because
Yeah.
it filters through all the the pine bogs. So it's very, very acidic, very tannic. Anyways, there's so many Vallisnerias and probably like some myriophyllums that were invasive, just tons and tons of submersed plants growing. It was very shallow, so lots of light got through. And this is seasonal because, the summer is very short up there. But it was growing very well. So we really enjoyed that part. And then, we're on this little tributary and then we went into the main river and it got really, really fast. Well, I mean, like for us, really fast. And there was tons of deadfall. And so we had to like maneuver around it. We fell in. And I was only like that deep, but it was 50 degrees. It was
Oh God.
cold. So cold. And I lost my phone, never to be
Oh,
found again. And we lost one of the paddles, but we did retrieve the paddle further
yikes.
downstream. And we were just freezing cold. So the last like 2 hours of this trip, we were sitting in wet clothes, all cold. And we got back to the place and we were in cold clothes, 50 degrees. And I don't know how, but Jake like pulled all this clothing out of his tank or out of his trunk
Mhm.
that just I don't even know why he had this clothing in the back and so we can change. But yeah, a memorable trip. So lots of plants though in Blackwater.
This is sounding more and more like peperomia.
Oh, there are. Yeah, yeah. Peperomia has very textured leaves. I'll go get one of them. One moment. Stephen, entertain the chat.
Okay. is there anything we can add to our water to try and precipitate the KH out of the water? Yeah, a strong acid, muriatic acid, like same as hydrochloric acid, that doesn't precipitate it. It basically, the hydrogen that's released by the acid reacts with the bicarbonates in your KH, and it will turn into water and CO2 gas, which will exit the water column. I would not recommend willy-nilly to anyone listening to put muriatic acid in your water. People do it. You better sure as shit know what you're doing. I will not help you.
The thing is this, is you can do it, and it's cheap and it works, but it's a lot more labor and a lot more risk than just doing RO.
Correct.
Ultimately, RO is cheaper, easier, and safer. And so if you really, really want to do it, you should just do you should just get an RO system.
And Skittlepuke says kitty litter safety zorb will pull KH out of the water. That's not true.
No, that is not true. No, it has
bicarbonates are anions.
It is affinity for cations.
Yeah.
KH is an anion. So it will pull calcium and magnesium, which is general hardness, but not.
Right. That's also a misconception about aqua soil. Some people believe that aqua soil actually takes in the bicarbonates and holds on to them, but what it really does is release hydrogen that reacts
hydronium ions, not hydrogen, hydronium ions, or sometimes called hydrogen ions.
True. Yeah, true. But basically you have a hydrogen ion that breaks off from the hydronium to react with your bicarbonates.
No, it's still called a hydronium ion. It's called an H+.
It's not. I thought it was called only hydronium when it's H3O.
You would still call it a hydronium ion. You would never call it hydrogen, though, because hydrogen is elemental, like hydrogen gas, like what the sun produces.
Gotcha, because it's a proton, right?
It's an ion. Which
gotcha.
Just a proton.
So anyway, that reacts with your bicarbonates and forms CO2. It's like chewing through the KH. It's not being held.
Yeah, you're just adding acid to your tank. Weak acid. But acid,
because it's like from peat from the aqua soil, because
it's it's made of soil. Like people who say that like these aqua soils aren't natural, I mean it is. It's made of high fired soil. It's originally it was used as substrate for growing bonsai.
So, okay, show that peperomia. See if that's
so. There are many peperomias. This is one of them. A lot of them look a lot like this. They have the very crenellated leaves, so they're very wrinkly, and they have the petioles that are kind of reddish. There are many species of peperonia. I have a couple of them. They all kind of look like this. So,
well, let me scroll down and see. Well, okay. Nerds.
Corework says dolomite lime has magnesium. Hydrated lime is calcium hydroxide. Yeah, dolomite lime it's limestone. Like you can buy it from the nursery, and people add it to their soil, like to add mineral content to their soil. Hydrated lime, calcium hydroxide. Calcitic lime is calcium carbonate. Yeah, calcitic lime, that's a soda ash. ag lime can be any of those or a combination of them, but is usually calcium carbonate, which is limestone.
Soda ash, I thought is sodium carbonate. I just look it up.
It's the one that's the precipitate on soap. As it's soda ash.
Oh, that's sodium hydroxide. No, soda ash is definitely sodium carbonate.
Yeah.
Also known as
because it complexes. Yeah, because it forms with the CO2 in the air.
Yeah.
It's soda ash. Back when I used to make soap, it would form on the soap and make it cloudy looking.
Reacts with unsaponified lye during the soap making process, creating a white ashy-like film on the surface.
Yes.
Interesting.
Yes.
I don't think I'll ever make soap. But...
Oh, it's so fun. I would totally make soap with you. It's way fun. It's a fun craft. Like it's a good artistic endeavor.
I want to make shower gel.
That's not as fun, but I have made
Yeah.
shower gels, but it's not as fun. It's its own thing.
Yeah.
It doesn't require lime because they're synthetic detergents. So you usually just have to buy those and mix them. But formulating them is fun chemistry. So
lots of reports of safety zorb lowering KH. Akadama is known to do that too. I think it's just a lot of people misconstrue correlation and causation.
Yeah, and
that's just one of the things.
They are mixing up what it's lowering. It lowers.
And people do also, get confused with GH and KH.
They do mix
and
them
think
up.
that they are. Yeah.
Yeah, and safety zorb, it's not what it's cracked up to be. So I had never used safety zorb in any capacity before, but I bought some last year to use as it's for a pond. And
so I saw that Ted uses it even in his gravel baskets as kind of like a center.
Sure, it works fine. But let me tell you this, it's not a product that has consistent size. So like the bags I got were completely pulverized and dusty as shit.
Yeah, you wouldn't want that.
And they crumbled really easily and turned to mud. So they're no different than kitty litter, really. Like they're supposed to be fired so they don't turn to mush. But think about it. They're not sold to do anything other than soak up oil off your floor. They don't have to meet standards other than that. So I was not very impressed with the product. Now you could get a better bag of it, but it's not a consistent product. So I would never put it in my aquarium. Would I use it in a pond again? Sure, whatever. I've got some to use up. I probably will use it up. Yeah. But I would never put it as my substrate in my aquarium because it turns to mush. And it's not that attractive when it gets wet. No. It's like a gray brown and it's not pretty. So just buy aqua soil.
Paging Annette, mystery snail question. I'm going to try to answer it anyway because Mary Oliver wants to know, will mystery snails last in a pond through dogs' days of summer? In Rhode Island, usually 2 weeks, July and August. I'm going to guess that it doesn't. And if they do survive, that's going to like really ramp up their metabolism.
I don't know what the max temperature for mystery snails is, but I don't think they want to be that hot.
Something below 80 for sure. Like
if they say
there's no need to even heat a mystery snail tank.
If you have a very big tub, it can stay cool enough. But I don't know anyone who's got like 100-gallon Rubbermaid tub for breeding mystery snails outside. That's just not a thing people do.
I don't think mystery snails are invasive in Florida. I think the giant freaking apple snails are. I mean, same.
I don't think they're on any list. I don't think they're on any lists. Yeah, there's also Spixie snails. Those are no bueno. Oops. I am not very educated about that though. That's a question for Annette.
But it would probably I think it increases their metabolism. They don't live very long anyway. So I think even with apple snails, what they lack in lifespan, they make up for in laying 10 trillion eggs all the time and just reproducing.
And pooping. Let's not forget the pooping.
Anthony, good to see you here. Long time no see.
Hello.
All right. I think that was the last question.
I'm tired. I woke up really early today. I'm kind of hitting a wall.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, yeah, back to work for me anyway.
Yeah. Well, but we're glad you were here. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you to our mods. And we'll see everyone next week.
Indeed. And then the following week, that's Memorial Day, right?
Yes, and I will not be available.
And neither will we because we'll be on vacation. So
where are you guys going to Georgia? Or?
We're going to Dallas.
Oh, nice.
To do stuff that Jenna has planned, and she's probably told me, and I'm blanking on it now. Ponchos.
You have not planned any of this.
Eating at Ponchos. That's a thing.
Okay.
That's on the list.
You can go see Emily.
Yeah, I think we're actually going to try to coordinate that, and maybe even swing by. By swing by, I mean drive several hours south to Zen.
Oh, that's wonderful. That's wonderful. Well, have a good time. I mean, Texas in May is not the greatest, but you're from Louisiana in May, so whatever.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. 6'1", half dozen other.
Yeah. And as for me, Jake and I are taking off. We take off an extra day for that. So we'll take off Monday and Tuesday. And it's the last big push to get the ponds done. So the pond empire will all be in place then. I've already done a lot of work for it. I now have 4 green stock planters. I have a whole army of them with vegetables and herbs and strawberries. And
looking forward to seeing that.
25 dahlias this year, which is way more dahlias than I've ever grown, and cut flowers I'm growing. And then all of the flowers around the pond and different plants I've never grown before in the ponds. And I saw Jody P had a giant arch growing, and I'm like, fuck, I need a giant arch. So I just ordered a giant ass arch to go over the pond.
You got to have an entrance to the pond empire,
that's right? I'm like, I could have one of those. So, and Jake's like, you need one of those, because he's never really telling me no ever. So there will be that. So I'm pretty excited for Pond Empire 2025, but empires were not built in a day. So
yeah,
one thing at a time. But thank you all, and we'll see you next week.
Right. Bye.
Bye.